the man never expected. Just because he was too ugly, he ended up being despised by the goddess, which led to him being stripped of his hero status. Not only that, the goddess also cast him away to the edge of the other world, leaving him to fend for himself and perish on his own. However, what the goddess didn't know was, Jack, who had just arrived in the other world, defeated a two-headed dog with a single kick. Although his actual level was only level 1, the flames he unleashed were as powerful as a nuclear bomb, and in just 2.5 days, he mastered all elemental magic. Before crossing over, Jack was a high school student who loved archery. That day, he had just taken out his study materials and sat down. But the next second, he was summoned to another dimension by a deity. The deity claimed to be the moon god. This time, it was to send Jack to the other world as a hero. It turned out Jack's parents had also crossed over from another world. At that time, they signed a contract with the goddess of the other world, promising that if the goddess ever needed it, they would offer their most precious child. Jack instantly realized he had been sold out by his parents, but he didn't feel hatred, thinking that if he didn't go, it would be his two older sisters' turn. Jack accepted it, perhaps out of sympathy for Jack. Before departure, the moon god bestowed Jack with power, then sent Jack to the other world. When Jack opened his eyes again, he saw the legendary goddess of the other world. She perfunctorily stated, the other world was now being ravaged by demons, so a hero was needed to help save humanity. Then the next second, the goddess saw Jack's true appearance. Huh?
どこの醜いアヒルの子よ。ってわけでクーリングオフ決定。さっさと視界から消えてくれる？存在がキモい、うざい。そっちが呼んだくせに。じゃあやばん、こいつら醜いとか。
The goddess immediately decided to abandon Jack and let him fend for himself. But in the end, the goddess still followed her professional bottom line and gave Jack the ability to understand languages beyond humans, then directly threw Jack out of the divine realm. As Jack kept falling, sighing at the hardships of life, the moon god appeared. He hadn't expected the goddess to be so heartless, but with Jack's current strength, this height was nothing to him. It turned out that since Earth had never been protected by gods, Jack's body and magic had been honed over a long time. Being called a superhuman in the other world was no exaggeration, but the moon god's sudden appearance in the other world consumed much of his power. He would now sleep for hundreds of years. Finally, the moon god told Jack, since the goddess acted so ruthlessly, then Jack need not hold back in the future. He could live freely in this world. As soon as he finished speaking, Jack instantly fell like a missile and crashed to the ground, although he wasn't injured at all. This place truly was the world's end, as the goddess had said, desolate and uninhabited all around, utterly silent. After walking for 3 whole days, not to mention humans, he hadn't even seen a single insect. Utterly exhausted, Jack could only collapse hopelessly on the ground, although his superhuman physique allowed him to survive without food or water for days. But if this continued, he truly was not far from death. Yet heaven never completely shuts the path. In a daze, Jack seemed to hear a girl's cry for help. He immediately became energized like he was injected with adrenaline, and rushed toward the source of the sound. Although these creatures weren't human, at least they could communicate, so Jack decisively kicked, and instantly shattered the two-headed dog into pieces. Jack himself hadn't expected his strength to be so overwhelming. The pig girl was also terrified, trembling all over at the sight. She tried to sneak away while Jack wasn't paying attention. Jack immediately blocked her with a wall slam.
はじめまして。どうしてヒューマンが私と喋れる？僕もなんで豚と話せる？とにかく大丈夫。僕は温和で優しい。痛いお間違い。
With the communication ability granted by the goddess, Jack learned that the pig girl's name was Lisa, and that this was the desolate land at the world's end. Nearby there were not only no humans, but terrifying monsters everywhere. Lisa herself had been offered by the village as a sacrifice to the holy dragon. Unexpectedly, she encountered a two-headed dog along the way. Thanks to Jack's intervention, she was saved. Otherwise, without a sacrifice, the holy dragon would have brought disaster. To thank Jack, Lisa took him back to her village and treated him warmly. With Lisa's help, Jack finally ate a hot meal. But the villagers were stunned by the way Jack was eating. They had long heard that humans were cruel and violent, and now it seemed the rumors were true. Just as Jack was speechless, Lisa's use of transport magic caught Jack's interest, so Jack asked her to teach him some basic magic. Hearing this, Lisa naturally did not refuse. As she chanted the spell, a fireball instantly appeared in her hand. Jack tried it according to Lisa's guidance. Unexpectedly, the flame he summoned was even larger than Lisa's. Its power nearly destroyed the cave. Jack hadn't imagined magic could be so simple for him. Lisa grew curious about Jack's level. Judging by his performance just now, Jack's magic power had to be at least level 300.
これってレベルいくつなの？
レベル1。です。
1。
よかったら他の魔法の呪文もまとめておきましょうか。
ありがとう。
The next day, when Lisa went to wake Jack, she found he had left a letter and departed. It turned out that to save the gentle and kind Lisa, Jack decided to personally defeat the holy dragon. Thus Jack ran all the way to the foot of the sacred mountain. Before the battle, Jack decided to practice the magic he learned yesterday. Now he had mastered casting without incantations, and could freely change the form of magic, transforming flames into arrows. Jack began using the mountain gate as a target.
成功だな。
Realizing he had caused trouble, Jack quickly ran over to apologize, but discovered that what had fallen was a group of beastmen. It turned out these beastmen had been abusing the Holy Dragon's name for evil deeds. Although Jack accidentally defeated them, the destroyed gate was the Holy Dragon's dwelling, and the explosion drew the Holy Dragon's attention. Holy Dragon without a word, they attacked Jack. Fortunately, Jack had the ability granted by the Moon God, so even in the mist he could sense the enemy's position. After dodging the attack, Jack gathered flames to counterattack, but the Holy Dragon scoffed. Immune to fire, it had no defense at all.
傷だと火に耐性のある私の体にやけくその聖剣抜きからのブラックこやつ何者なのだ無敵を関する私がこのようだ透明の必殺帰り込みアッパー
Jack unleashed a flurry of combo strikes, leaving the Holy Dragon utterly powerless to fight back. Seeing this, the Holy Dragon became completely enraged. It used the power of illusion against Jack. Those struck by this move would ultimately drown in memories of happiness. In a trance, Jack seemed to return to the past, to the scene where a girl confessed to him, according to the usual flow of the story, with him lost in blissful memories. But Jack was very self-aware, because he was short, and not good-looking, so being confessed to was clearly unrealistic. At that moment, the Holy Dragon also realized Jack's identity as someone from another world. As it browsed Jack's memories, the next second Jack broke through the illusion. Jack angrily wanted to teach a lesson to this dragon that toyed with emotions, but unexpectedly the Holy Dragon changed its arrogant attitude and asked Jack for reconciliation. It turned out it coveted Jack's memories. Wanting to learn more interesting things, it even offered to form a contract. Jack initially wanted to refuse, but the Holy Dragon threatened him with his secrets. Helpless, Jack had no choice but to accept. The Holy Dragon intended to sign an equal contract, but its magic power was no match for Jack's. In the end, they barely managed a master-servant contract split 80/20. With difficulty, it was finally matched. As the contract was completed, Jack successfully gained a dragon maid.
では改めてよろしく我が主誠様和服のクールビューティー侍と言ってほしいですな